Check, 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 check. Making sure I'm live. Let's see here. Check, check. All right. Let's see. We go to YouTube. Go live. On. Hey, can you guys see me? Checking in on everybody. All right, how's the team doing? Just making sure that I'm coming through. Okay, 5x5. Yep, welcome to the live stream, everybody. It's Ryan, also known as Max Afterburner. Let me text Bodie Bodenheimer. He's a fighter pilot as well. He's helped me a lot with these recent breakdowns on the 787. And also, I'll be doing a breakdown today on, right now, specifically for the Iran scenario. Just very insane. Okay, cool. You guys, you see and hear me perfectly. All right, I'm going to pull up. Can you guys see my screen? Let me know if you can see my screen. Right now, it's just showing the basic stream setup. I haven't streamed live in a while, but today we're going to be breaking down the attack that just happened. So I want to talk to you guys about the targets that were hit in Iran and what Israel did. So as soon as you tell me that you can see my screen, once I pull up the map, you guys, I'll try to pop out the chat here. Let me see if I can see this. Okay, cool. The chat is popped out. Awesome. And we're good to go. I'm going to pull it up on my phone too so I can make sure that I see the chat.
If you live in Salt Lake City, did you know
that? Okay. So Iran has been struck, guys. This is the main thing that's happened. Okay, cool. I got the chat pulled up right here. How do you guys see me? Can you see the map? Yep. Okay, you see the map. Great. All right, this is Natanz. So this is an attack that just took place within the last few hours. And I wanted to come to you guys live to give you the no-kidding details of what's going on right now. I want to reassure you guys with some actual news, potentially not what you're actually finding from the mainstream. So Natanz. This is Natanz in Iran. Cool. You guys can see everything. Map is up. Awesome. Okay, so this is a potential hotbed for nuclear enrichment. And this has been struck. So as the time of this video being made, Israel has launched F-35Is, F-15Is, and they have crossed into Iran. They've struck these different locations. They've actually struck multiple locations. So what I'll be doing, guys, is I'll be breaking this down from a perspective of being an F-15E combat fighter pilot, F-16 Thunderbird pilot, and then Michael Bodie is in the chat. That's my dad. He is a F-16 fighter pilot, flew the OV-10 and the F-4. So what's up, Dad? Glad you're here. But I wanted to bring you guys this. We've got the 787 video that is live right now on YouTube, and you guys have been checking that out. So definitely keep checking that out. I'll be doing a follow-up to that, but this live stream, I really wanted to focus on what just happened in Iran. So this is Natanz. So if you look at this enrichment site, I'll zoom out a little bit so you can get a better picture. That red balloon right there is a strike that has happened. So from Israel into Iran, and yeah, they made it rain, basically. I mean, things have gone not nuclear yet, and the goal is to avoid nuclear war, obviously. But hey, guys, this is a regional conflict, so I wouldn't be surprised if we do get some spillover. But before I do an official YouTube video, which I will be doing, I wanted to show you guys these two different locations, and I'll be breaking down. This will probably be an hour-long live stream, would be my guess, just because there's a lot going down. There's a lot happening in the world, and so everybody's flowing in. We got about 700 people here right now, and I'm in it for the long haul. I'm in it for you guys because of all the support you've given me, so I want you guys to have this live. You can ask questions, but what I'll do is I'll just start breaking down what I know, has happened, and then we'll talk about maybe what Iran will do as a retaliatory strike. So this is Natanz. So Israel's fighters went deep into Iran, like they went deep, baby. And then Fordo, here's Fordo. So let's zoom out here. Fordo here. Someone just asked if Iran has declared war. Yeah, I mean, I would assume. I mean, I haven't read that they've officially declared that, but I mean, it is an all-out war. And Israel has said this is going to be a multi-day campaign. So as you can see, Israel here, they're going to do a strike across Jordan, across Iraq, and then into Iran with F-35s. Shoe Monster, thank you for that super thanks. I really appreciate that. Honestly, you guys doing the super thanks, subscribing to the channel, watching my videos, that is really giving me the ability to do this almost full time. I'm almost full time because of you guys. So thank you for that, Shoe Monster. And Shoe Monster, if you guys are going to throw out a super thanks like that, feel free to throw in a question as well, and I'll do my best to answer. I'm just stoked that everybody's here and that we're going to break down what's going on. So this is Fordo, deep inside Iran. And again, if you look at their nuclear sites where these strikes are happening, deep in mountainous terrain, hidden inside of valleys. And this is something so when I was flying the F-15E, I worked the war plans for North Korea. And if you look at a lot of these regimes, these insular regimes that kind of lock themselves off, what you'll find is they put their nuclear sites, a lot of their weapons in this mountainous terrain because they know that it's hard to target. So they know that it's a weaponeering problem. As you can see, this little valley here, this little road, and you've got mountains on both sides, the town of Fordo. So hidden somewhere near or inside this town proper is a uranium enrichment facility, some sort of warhead production facility likely, or some sort of centrifuge action that's going on. And I just wanted to just give you guys some context for this. So there's been a huge, I'll say, effort from the West, from President Trump to try to negotiate with Iran. He's basically tried to get everybody to the table, and he's tried to get them to say, hey, like, we don't want your regime to go away. That's not the goal. That's what I've kind of seen. That's the rhetoric I've seen. We're not trying to destroy Iran, and the West has basically said we're not taking part in these strikes. We're abstaining because a deal was supposed to be made. That's what President Trump wanted, but Iran basically flipped the big middle finger. You know, if you had one of those football game number ones, Iran had the big middle finger, one of those, and basically said that the West's terms were completely erroneous. There was something along those lines from the Ayatollah. The Ayatollah, as you guys know, dictator, basically has an iron grip on Iran. And I have a lot of Iranian friends, super good people. So, man, just really good people for sure. I'm going to throw in a super chat goal here. Let's see. Super chat goal. There we go. YouTube's asking me to do this real quick before I continue. And then I'll set a timer. Let's see. Super chat. Yeah, let's see. Share. Okay, if we get this super chat goal, then I'll do more live streams. How about that? I just got to put this in real quick for YouTube, guys. More live streams, maybe a weekly live stream, but that'll be a different goal. We'll start out small. Let's see here. All right, cool. Boom. I just started a goal. YouTube wants me to do it. So they want me to try to get 10 super thanks. So there's another one rolling in. So F the mainstream, long live burner baby from Enoch. Thanks so much for that, brother. Appreciate that. So when I was diving deep into the North Korean war plans, what they like to do was hide a lot of their enrichment facilities, a lot of their strategic missiles, their cruise missiles, a lot of their weapons bodies. They would hide deep in valleys like this, because as we weaponeer for this, as fighter pilots weaponeer for this, as these Israeli pilots weaponeered for this, basically think about it. So if you're hitting a flat plane like this, the bomb's going straight in, you got a flat open plane, you're dropping a bomb in Kansas, boom, it goes straight in, easy day, right? But look at Top Gun Maverick. Look at that scene. So the reason why that was a difficult situation is because of the terrain on either side. So these Israeli F-35I pilots and F-15I pilots really had their work cut out for them. And the weapon cells were working overtime, most likely, especially for Fordo. As you can see, it buried deep inside this mountainous terrain. This was essentially a Top Gun 3 mission on steroids, guys. So when it comes to the Top Gun 2 mission, this was a Top Gun 2 mission on steroids. So this might be Top Gun 3 because they basically hit multiple sites. They hit command and control centers, and they also took out multiple leadership positions. And that's the big, hey, we're not playing around. This is all out. And Israel has basically said, if they don't do this, they believe that there won't be another generation of Israelis. And they basically have said there won't be another generation of humans, because if Iran has a nuclear weapon, they're likely to use it. So here's the thing. So we talked about the strategic implications of those negotiations that took place, right? Okay, we got people rolling in the chat. We got Green Knight. We got Navid. So we talked about those strategic implications. Also strategic implications would be Russia. So Russia in the last few days has also said that they have created a nuclear deal for nuclear plants with Iran. And that's just bad news, because basically Iran wants to bring Russia in as close as they can to their chest to try to have some leverage against the United States and against Israel. Again, U.S. has said they're abstaining from this, but if this spills over and this becomes more of a regional conflict, you can bet there's no rules, right? There's no rules. So a lot of F-15E squadrons are actually over there in theater right now. A lot of my good friends from the 335th, the Chiefs, the 389th. There's a lot of F-15E pilots on the U.S. side, likely based in Jordan or other areas, that are preparing these bad boys right here. And this is a picture from the war zone. These are drone-killing F-15Es. So we'll get to that in a second, but I really wanted to hone in first on Fordo and what's going on there. So there you go. You got Fordo. Wow. Curtis just threw in a $50. Wow, man, that's super appreciated. Let's see what Curtis said. Remember, I'm like Ron Burgundy, so I'm apt to read pretty much anything you write if you do a super thing. So he says, hi, Max Afterburner. I hope we stay out of this if it kicks off. I 100% support Israel's move in this, but I just don't want us to get sent back to the desert. Hey, I hear you, man. I totally agree. And I think Israel's at the point where they're like, if they don't act, if they don't do something, then it's going to be an all-out World War III. So I look at this like a preemptive strike where they're trying to prevent it. Likely they're not trying to take out the entire regime of Iran, but let's be honest, would the world be a better place without that regime? But is it worth putting boots on the ground, U.S. boots, Israeli boots? I agree, no. Like, I would hope that doesn't spill over to that as well, so thanks for that. And then DB, he hit it. So DB says the truth hurts. Okay, like, all right, man, whatever. I'm not sure what that means. But yeah, the truth hurts. That sounds like my ex-girlfriend. Maybe is DB, are you my ex-girlfriend? Debbie, is that what that stands for? So there's Fordo. You can see mountainous terrain. Again, look at this long drive. So tanker support likely for those F-35Is. And then Natanz. So this is Natanz, again, coming in from Israel. So let's start over here. You got Israel here, crossing over into Jordan, Iraq, and then into Iran. And I wanted to show you guys this video. Here, let me pull this video up. I got the chat here in my hand. Give me a thumbs up if you guys can see this video. So I was doing some research today based on the 787. So the 787 that went down, you guys likely know about that. I'll be doing a full video on that as well. Catching up on the chat here. Looks like everybody's flowing in. The 787 that went down. I was doing some research today and I came across this while I was researching some for-flight maps. And this is Afghanistan. You've got Iran over here, the Islamic Republic of. You've got Tajikistan, and they're all basically no operations areas. And I'll play this video as I was scanning through. Yeah, you guys can see that. So this was earlier today. This was when I was doing the video for the 787. So this just shows this whole area. You got Syria, Turkey, no-fly area. You got Israel over here to the left-hand side, then Iraq. So this whole thing is a no-fly area, no-fly zone, because likely this was known to be kicking off soon. So you fly an airliner over in this area and things could get dicey. Things could get very dicey. So not something that anybody wants to have happen is get an airliner shot down. I'm in it for the long haul, guys. I got these Black Rifle energy drinks. Shout out to Black Rifle. A lot of good people over there. But no operations areas, as you can see right there over Israel. Then you got no-fly areas. Basically, the entire Middle East is shutting down air traffic. So I saw that happening and I was like, oh boy. But I was focused on the 787. But I just wanted to give you guys this overview to show you what's going on in the Middle East. No-fly areas, because the entire Middle East is potentially going to go into a regional conflict. I'm not trying to beat the war drum. I'm not saying that's what I want to have happen. But you got that no-fly area over Russia, no operations zone there. And it's just it's a battle scene that is set to kick off that we'll probably be talking about for decades, would be my guess. Multi-day campaign from Israel that's going to be rolling in. And I hope that airliners are being careful. That's just one thing I'll throw out there. Any flight, chief pilots or directors of operations for airlines, be really careful in this area right now if you're watching, if any of those people are on this live feed, because things are going to get real and things are going to continue to worsen before they get better, likely, especially with the drones that are going to be flying. So these SAM systems now, all these SAM operators have itchy trigger fingers, okay? So I really don't want to see that happen. Oil prices have surged 11%. That's just kind of obvious. That's going to happen. It looks like Israel has also taken out the head of the Iran Revolutionary Guard. So one of the special operations, basically the main special operations force for Iran, the leader of that has been taken out. And this is a CNBC article here. So they killed Guard Chief Hossein Salami. And when these things start happening, you really got to, just pay attention, because everybody's on edge right now. So quick summary, we talked about Israel launched that series of attacks. We know that the strikes have killed those top ranking officers and likely others, I would say. And then we got U.S. stock futures have slid, obviously. If you think about Iran, I'm going to step back to this map real quick. So this little strait right here in the Persian Gulf, the Straits of Hormuz, right here. I practiced for this scenario multiple times in the F-15E with Iran shutting down oil flow to the rest of the world. I wouldn't be surprised if they do that right now. But the nice thing is the West doesn't need Iran's oil. The West has a ton of their own oil. And the U.S. has a ton of oil that they could start selling to Europe. If there's gaps that need to be filled, more reserves can be tapped. Strategic reserves can be tapped. So Iran, they're going to think that they can shut down oil flow to the rest of the world. However, I'm assuming probably just Russia and China are the ones that are buying their oil at this point. Maybe Venezuela, some other nations like that. But we're probably looking at a situation where this Strait of Hormuz right here could be shut down. And I trained for this. I strafed fast boats, practiced strafing fast boats prior to deployment, deployed to Bagram, Afghanistan over here. But we were there flying close air support missions. I flew 70 close air support missions, but we were there also for strategic defense for Iran. So I wouldn't be surprised. I'm trying to throw out some things that might be coming up in the next few days, just so you guys aren't shocked. You're getting the information straight from the source. And hopefully that is something that, you guys can feel better and sleep better tonight, knowing that you're getting some of this true information. Just from, the horse's mouth, as they like to say. So Israel's defense minister has declared a state of emergency right after the strikes began. And he said basically a missile and drone attack against the state of Israel and its civilian population is expected in the immediate future. Israel seems at this point to be focused on military targets, which makes sense. And then the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, told the nation this operation will continue for as many days as it takes to remove the threat. So Iran is going into beast mode. They're going into full battle mode. And like I said, this just got real. Thank you guys for the super thanks. I see those flowing in. Quick check in on everybody. Michael Beedry, AFQ, Tommy, M. Gifford, Matt. If you guys are just rolling in, I've got a 787 video that's up, but this live stream is specifically focused on those Israeli attacks on Iran, just to give you guys some information straight from the fighter pilot source. So let's keep going a little bit more. The U.S. has said we are not involved. President Trump says we're not involved in strikes. I don't know if this is President Trump. This is Secretary of State Marco Rubio. We are not involved in strikes against Iran, and our top priority is protecting American forces in the region. So Israel advised us that they believe this action was necessary for its self-defense. So Israel advised, and that's likely why the U.S. started to pull out a lot of non-essential personnel over the last few days. So here's another map showing some of the strikes and the nuclear installations in Iran. And then, Trump approved the withdrawal of a lot of American personnel. And then Trump said that he's delaying talks with Iran, and the U.S. envoys, obviously at this point, everybody's kind of paused. And they feel less confident now than they would have a couple of months ago that a deal could be reached because, hey, the talks failed. And so Israel's looking at this and saying, all right, well, the talks failed. I guess we have one more option. I want to talk also about the strike itself. So quick overview of Israel's likely strike. So here's what I think happened. Again, not fully verified. I've compiled a lot of information from X posts. And again, just trying to get you guys this information as fast as possible. Israel's F-15I, that is a variant of the F-15, and it's called the F-15I Ra'am. It is a strategic jet that is used to carry the heavy metal. So I've talked with Bodie Bodenheimer, fighter pilot, also my dad. We had a discussion prior to this live stream. Basically the best fighter jet aviation guru that I've ever known, and he happens to be my dad. Kind of cool. But we talked about probably the strike was F-35Is, probably 12 to 14 of them striking on different axes, and then followed up with F-15I. So the F-35I probably going in after some sort of a cyber attack on the SAM systems, but the F-35I, its ability for seed suppression of enemy air defenses is second to none. I mean, that thing is just a total beast. So F-35I, think about the F-35I going in at the point of the spear, and that's, it's like the 300, it's like you don't need that many of them, but they can go up against a massive amount of SAMs and S-300s, likely of what Iran has, but I would assume probably within about 25 minutes, the F-35Is hunted, basically waited for the SAM systems, the S-300s, to turn on, and then they hunted them, literally hunted them. So it was a scary day for any radar operators sitting anywhere close to these things, because as soon as those things turned on, the F-35Is likely saw them from 100 plus miles away. I don't know the exact range, but that F-35I is going to see that S-300, hone in on it, and then boom, strike it with some sort of weapon. A harm type missile is going to go after that. So they're going to take those down. And then the F-15Is are going to roll in after that with the heavy metal. The F-15Is can carry a 5,000 pound bunker buster bomb. It's a laser guided bomb. I trained with this many times. And so they likely went in with that bunker buster bomb and just whoopsh, like dominated the Natanz and Fordo nuclear sites. And they've really probably focused on a lot of the laboratories as well, where the scientists are within days of being able to convert that civilian nuclear energy into nuclear weapons. So quick overview on this. So the F-35I is going to have the AN APG-70, and that is a beautiful radar. I flew with the APG-82, which is an even more advanced AESA radar, and I'm just telling you guys, this AESA radar is insane. Incredibly capable radar for air-to-air targets and air-to-ground targets. And so F-15I coming in behind the F-35s is just a no-brainer. Payload capacity, 18,000 pounds, probably with that 5,000 pound bunker buster bomb on the center line. And Fordo and Natanz are known for having bunkers. So again, you're going in a mountainous area, Fordo. Here we go. Here's Fordo. Going into that mountainous area, you want a 5,000 pound bomb, maybe a 2,000 pound bomb with bunker buster capability, but the 5,000 pounder that's the big money. That's what's going to really be the big stick in this situation going into this mountainous terrain. So think of it, you got 14 F-35Is followed up very shortly with, here, I'll pull up a picture of the F-35I, followed up very shortly with the F-15I, and it's going to be an unstoppable wave that Iran's going to have no chance against these things. So here's an F-35I. Let's see. Yep, there's that beautiful F-35I. Wow. I mean, it's just a beautiful jet. Thanks for everybody rolling into the chat. Again, I just wanted to get a live stream out to you guys before I do a full video on this, and we'll go from there. All right, so F-15Es as well in theater with those rocket pods, so about $20,000 per rocket. Not cheap, but imagine an AMRAAM, $1 million AMRAAM versus these rockets. So these squadrons are sitting by, they're ready for Iran's drone strikes. They're going to be launching Shahed 168, 158 drones, and it's just going to get wild over there. Koala Man 33. Do you think F-35s took out radar sites for the F-15s? Yes, I do. Thanks for that super chat and for that question. I definitely think that's what took place. Let's see. We got Steve, Nafo, Gifford, Jeremy, Michael Bodie, give me the support. Appreciate that. Michael Bodie, Bodenheimer, fighter pilot. Do you have anything you want to add in? I'll try to catch it if you throw it in the chat. The chat's moving pretty quick. We've got 2,300 people in here in this live stream watching this right now. So I'll try to catch it. But Bodie, if you have anything that you want to show, you want to talk about, throw that out there as I kind of go through this summary here. Okay, F-35. So let's talk about some of the tactical execution. So the F-35Is probably use Syrian airspace. This is coming from Grok, and they likely exploited gaps in the regional defenses of Iran. So they probably know exactly where those S-300s are, and they exploited that. And then the strikes occurred just before dawn. So they leveraged darkness. And again, when it comes to hunting in an F-15, an F-35, that's when you hunt. You hunt at night, and that's when you do your best work when it comes to these strategic strikes. Let's see, refueling aircraft, EW platforms, possibly drones supported the F-35Is, enabling long-range operations and real-time intelligence. Probably some sort of X-Guards. If you guys are familiar with X-Guards, those are radar spoofing technology. They can be drones, but they could also just be electronic. Think of collaborative wingmen. Those drones are going to work as collaborative wingmen for the F-35Is. Iran probably, out of desperation, pumped off some of their S-300s, but they're likely going to go after the X-Guards or any type of spoofing that the F-35s have. So the S-300s, effectiveness against stealth platforms. I'm just going to throw this out there. You guys know what this means, right? Joey's asking, can Iran strike back effectively? Iran can do a massive wave of drones. So here's what Iran can do. Massive wave of drones, and they can also activate terror cells around the region. They can activate terror cells in many different countries that they've basically pumped a lot of their energy into. Think of the Yemeni rebels, but think of small teams as well, small teams of people that they've basically embedded throughout different countries, maybe even in Israel itself. So Israel is at a full-scale level 5 level of protection right now. So they're directly targeting the nuclear facilities. That's what Israel did. And that's signaling Israel's willingness to act preemptively against any type of ambition for nukes that Iran might have. So F-35Is, it basically is the star of the show. You got to have the F-35Is in there. And that's why, likely Israel's F-35Is are going to continue to do the strikes for the next few days. And Iran's basically helpless. So I actually got a call coming in right now from a buddy of mine from Iran. He's Iranian. I'm going to talk with him after this live stream. But great dude, many great people from Iran that I know, and they probably want a regime change. The Ayatollah has his foot on the neck of the Iranian people, and it's unfortunate. What a crazy situation. But I want to talk to you guys about the Delilah. This is the Delilah. This is a cruise missile, and if I'm a betting man, I would say, okay, probably the F-35s that did the initial strike on the S-300s, let's say it was like 15 to 20 of them, they're probably going to have no external pylons or any cruise missiles on them because they want to be as stealthy as possible and they want to take out all the S-300s. After that, though, you could have F-35s that have these pylons on them with the Delilah. They're gonna risk a little bit of stealth loss, so they're gonna lose a little bit of stealth. But at the end of the day, not the biggest deal because most of the S-300s are going to be taken down already. So then the Delilah is going to come in, and that's probably going to be loaded on some F-35s and then F-15Is. So the Delilah is going to go after hardened targets in that mountainous terrain, and they're extremely capable standoff cruise missiles. These are not something that you would want to have coming after you. The ability of these things to reach out and touch pretty much any target is it's pretty wild. The capabilities of these things is insane. I'll just kind of leave it at that. I mean, think of AI. Think of AI directing cruise missiles, AI strikes. You basically fire and forget and let the cruise missile just dominate. So likely a lot of these Delilahs were launched in this as well. I do want to quickly hit, and this is something I'll cover when I do the full YouTube video, but I want to quickly hit on the Olympic Games. So the Olympic Games was back in roughly 2005 to 2006. It was under President George W. Bush, but then it got accelerated under Barack Obama. And it was an operation where they deployed a Stuxnet worm. It was the first one of its type, an offensive cyber weapon, and it disrupted Iran's uranium enrichment process. So it literally made the centrifuges spin at a level where they kind of ate themselves and destroyed themselves. So that delayed or disrupted Iran's nuclear program way back then, and that was in Natanz, where the facility centrifuges which enrich uranium are located. So again, the fact that it's being hit again doesn't surprise me at all. But the Stuxnet worm, think of what's going on in Israel right now. Whether there was a cyber attack that was coinciding with the F-15Is and the F-35Is is remained to be seen. But I wouldn't be surprised if there was some sort of Stuxnet in conjunction with this, even if it was just a virus or something to take down their integrated air defenses, and that's called the IADS, Integrated Air Defense Systems. So if those were taken down, I would assume there would be some sort of cyber attack as well. And that's why in a large force engagement like this, you have push times, you have times where you cross the border, and you do not deviate from those. Because as a fighter pilot, you know that once you cross a certain border, that's not just you, it's not just your strike package. It's the fact that there's things like this going on in the background. Even though us fighter pilots would like to think we're the center of the universe. The universe doesn't revolve around fighter pilots. Even though we'd like to think that, the reality of it is that these types of operations are in collaboration with lots of cyber attacks, cyber warfare. The Mossad is working overtime. There's a lot going down. So Israel actually has a specialized unit called Unit 8200. It's a signals intelligence unit. They combine with Mossad and they provide critical intelligence on Natanz's operations, probably on the daily. And they learned, I'm sure, over the last few days with the talks breaking down and with Russia stepping in and saying, oh, yeah, okay, we'll help you out, Israel. They knew. The Unit 8200 and Mossad knew they had to go in and they had to take down these different uranium enrichment facilities extremely quick. So the malware, it's basically, you can think of it as an industrial vacuum cleaner for sensitive information because it's going to just wipe out a lot of information that the centrifuges are using. They claim that there's no connection of the Stuxnet to SAM systems, but if I was a betting man, I would assume that there would be some sort of cyber attack on the SAM systems. There's no credible sources, though, as of the time of this live happening, reporting on that. I just wanted to give you guys, just a thought for you to put in your pipe and smoke it. But Iran has that S-300, which is specifically from Russia. They have a Bavars, a 373, and those are critical for their air defense. But again, these were taken down by F-35Is, basically turned into dust. And it's been said that Iranian news has actually acknowledged that. I don't know why they're focused on that right now. They should probably be hiding. They should probably try to find a bunker, even though bunkers aren't going to be a safe place to be right now either. But let's quickly talk about the S-300 SAM system. So This is the bread and butter of Iran's IADs, their integrated air defense systems, which the F-35Is are going to target. Thanks for everybody being in the live. Quick shout out, Doug, Lonnie, Abukar, DJ. Glad everybody's here. Glad you guys are rolling in and getting some news from the horse's mouth. If you guys haven't checked out the 787 video, just plug for that. After this live is done, check that out. I'll do a follow-up to that because there is some more information on the 787 crash in India. But this live specifically is for the Iranian scenario. So the range of the S-300 system, 200 kilometers, let's just call it for easy math, 100 nautical miles. Its speed is Mach 6 to Mach 8. Potentially could go up to Mach 9 if they're going up against ballistic missiles. It's got a 180 kilogram high explosive fragmentation warhead. So yeah, that thing's a beast. If you guys throw in a super thanks, that's the best way for me to see your question, and I really appreciate you doing that. Jaw, thanks for the super thanks. He says, Iran is getting smoked. And remember, I'm like Ron Burgundy. I'll pretty much read everything you say, so I'll try to make sure it's actually relevant. The Ayatollah be hollering for salami at the snack bar. A lot of their senior leadership have been sent to afterlife. Yeah, Israel is targeting the senior leadership, and they're saying nothing is off the table. The gloves are off. This is an all-out war. In what I've seen so far, this is an all-out war. I just hope it doesn't spill over into a world war. Likely the U.S., President Trump, Defense Secretary Hegseth, they are probably talking to Putin. They're probably focused on not letting this spill over to some sort of nuclear conflict and making sure that Iran has not been supplied with an actual nuclear warhead from Russia. Is probably at the top of the list. I don't think Russia's stupid enough to do that, but I got to throw that out there. Hopefully that's part of their conversation. And then China's in on the talks as well, making sure that doesn't spill over. But then let's talk just a little more about this S-300 SAM system. So it can engage multiple targets. You've obviously got a radar system that is connected to this, and the radar can basically act as a mother for multiple different missiles. So if you take out the radar for the SAM systems, then you don't necessarily have to take out all the missiles. You can just take out the radar. You can take out the way that it communicates with command and control, and you've got yourself some dead S-300s. So that's likely what has been going down. Some other things, just disabling of the SAM systems here that I pulled up on Grok. Some remaining air defenses. Let's talk about what they might still have. They definitely still have short range systems. Those are going to be less effective like these against these F-35s. I mean, it's just not going to happen. So, okay, YouTube's asking me to throw in another goal. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, cool. It wants... Oh, okay. I'll take that. YouTube wants me to remind everybody that the super chat goal has 2 minutes left. We're trying to get to 10 super thanks, and that's just what YouTube wants me to say. There we go. We got Who, we got MR, we got Hajon in the chat. Glad everybody's here. So their remaining air defenses, so they've got the Bavar 373. That's basically a domestic-made S-300. Very similar capabilities to that. Quick drink break. It's been a busy few days for the Max Afterburner channel, so likely not going to get a lot of sleep tonight either as I dive more into that 787, and then also I'm going to keep information coming to you guys. I'll do an official YouTube video on this as well. 1 minute left for that super thanks goal. Looks like we need to get, I think, 4 more super thanks. Matt's here, Human, Interactive, Preem, Rip. Glad you guys are here. So we talked about the remaining air defenses. I would assume they know. Iran knows at this point, if they turn on one of these radars, they are going to get blown to smithereens. I mean, it's going to be over for any of these radars that turn on with the F-35I going in. It's over for the SAM systems of Iran. So will this bring Iran to the negotiating table? That's something that I'll ask you guys. Corey, thanks for that super thanks. Thoughts on the partnership with the peninsula? You're going to have to explain that one a little more, man. Not quite sure what you mean on that one. Sorry. Remember, I'm a fighter pilot. So even though I fly at, Mach 2, my brain doesn't always operate at Mach 2. So let me know a little more context behind that one. Glad you guys are all here. Here we go. Ballistic missiles and drone attacks. So I want to do a quick breakdown on what I think could likely happen over the next few days. So again, here's the map. I'm going to pull that video up one more time if I can of the region. So air travel is not shut down for no reason. So there's a lot of talks going on behind the scenes of what's going to happen next. So here's a no-fly area, Iraq. You've got Iran right over here on the right side. And, Iran above to the north. Again, fighter pilot, geography. So no-fly areas in pretty much all of Iran. A few little windows that you could sneak into, but again, commercial airliner traffic likely going to stop throughout the whole Middle East for the next couple of days, and strikes are going to continue. That's what I would expect. I would expect Iran's going to try to launch as many drones as they can, but Iran's going to preemptively get struck. Breck from Dallas, Breck Nichols from Dallas. Thanks for the super thanks, my friend. Appreciate that. Huge. That's awesome. Greatly appreciate that, man. That's awesome. Thanks so much. And then, as you can see, this whole section of the map is shut down. I'll go ahead and play this video for everybody who's just getting here. But no-fly zones, obviously in Ukraine and Russia. Man, any airliners that get airborne right now, you're just risking getting shot down. So no operations areas all around the peninsula, the Palestinian peninsula there. Israel, that whole area. And again, U.S. fighter jets are going to be doing some work tonight. They're going to be, it's, morning time over there, but they're going to be prepping ready with their drone killing rockets. And then Saudi Arabia, they're on high alert as well. Saudi Arabia has an F-15EI, I believe is what they call it. Two-seat F-15 that's going to be ready to kill drones as well. Alan Hilburn, thank you for the super thanks, man. That's awesome. Texas, go Texas, baby. I agree. Texas is awesome. But again, with the airspace being shut down like this is telling me that this regional conflict is going to continue for a while. Again, trying to save civilian lives, keep airliners from getting up into these areas because it's the Wild West. It's the total Wild West right now. So stepping back over to Grok. Yeah, so Iran's going to try to launch cruise missiles, drone attacks. It's going to be a large-scale attack that they'll try to launch. But remember, they did do a large-scale attack a few months back. I've got a full video coming out on that as well. But you could expect that Iran's going to target military bases, airfields, and they're going to really try to target civilian infrastructure. So Iran's going to try to schwack civilians in Israel. That's going to be their main thing. They're going to want to try to enact shock and awe and terror on the Israeli population. So that's something that to be on the lookout for over these next few days. Israel's Iron Dome, their David Sling system, that's going to be on high alert. That thing's going to be launching hundreds of missiles towards projectiles, likely in the near future. But Iran's going to take a while probably to launch this attack. This isn't something that I would expect Iran to flip a switch and go for. They got to prep and prepare, and they're weighing what they should be doing. But they do have cruise missiles that can, cause some pain, cause some harm, like what they launched against U.S. bases in Iraq. Greetings from Eielson Air Force Base. Awesome. Hey, man, I lived at Eielson Air Force Base. My dad, Bodie, he's in this chat somewhere. He's here on this live. I had a conversation with him prior to this live stream. He's F-16 fighter pilot who was stationed at Eielson Air Force Base, and that's where actually I fell in love with fighter aviation. I remember standing on the flight line as an 8th grader watching a 4-ship of F-16s take off in full afterburner. It was over for me after that. I mean, what am I supposed to do after that? There's no coming back from watching 4 F-16s take off in full afterburner at sunset. So that kind of put a spark in my heart to become a fighter pilot. So you're right there. You're at Eielson Air Force Base in Alaska, where that happened for me. So hats off to you. Thanks for being up there. Thanks for your service. If you're serving up there at Eielson, which it sounds like you are, that's awesome. Appreciate that. Little Perrier break. Don't judge me. I'm not going to put the pinky out, okay? All right, so we talked about ballistic missile and drone attacks coming from Iran. That's what's likely going to be seen. Shahed 136 and 238 drones. Those little triangle-looking drones, those are going to be a big part of this. So the F-15Es likely launching from Saudi Arabia, and then also launching from different U.S. strongholds in Jordan would be my guess. And then Iran's going to try to bring the pain down on Israel with those drones and with cruise missiles. But I believe Israel's attacks, their overwhelming swarm of attacks, are going to kind of make Iran batten down the hatches for the next few days. And if Iran decides to launch another preemptive attack, it's not going to go unpunished. The last one, I believe, was kind of like, all right, we shot down most of them. Cool, no harm, no foul. I don't think that's going to be the case this time. I think Netanyahu, the team in Israel, the defense team over there, Mossad, their gloves are off. So again, hopefully this doesn't spill over into a larger regional conflict. Hi from Baltimore. Were there any other airframes you wanted to fly? F-35, Apache, Nighthawk, A-10. Let's see. F-22 probably was high on my list of airframes to fly, but the Apache surprisingly extremely high on my list. There's an airfield here where I fly right now that has a whole bunch of Apaches. Every time I fly over top, I'm like, what would that be like? And if anybody from the Army National Guard is watching this and you need a washed up fighter pilot to be an Apache pilot, I'm your guy. Just send me a DM on Instagram, Max Afterburner USA on Instagram. Let me know. I'll be in an Apache in a second. Again, what we could see from Iran, though, proxy attacks. So Iran could mobilize its axis of resistance. So that includes Hezbollah, includes Iraqi militias and Houthis again. And they could, I doubt they would attack the U.S., but they could just see Israel as an extension of the U.S., so they could definitely launch attacks on the U.S. as well. So I would also encourage everybody watching this in the U.S., just be a little more aware. So if you're at an airport or you're at a location like a national pride type location, like the Golden Gate Bridge, somewhere like that, just be on the lookout for any type of suspicious activity, because Iran does have these small little axes of resistance that they can activate around the globe, likely some in the US as well, little terror cells that they could escalate. They could try to take down airliners. They could try to, strap bombs onto airliners and try to take down a whole bunch of them at a time. They could potentially have shoulder fired rockets, RPGs, that they could have smuggled into the US. They could be trying to shoot down airliners with. So if you see anything strange, like, again, I know this is way out there, guys, but, I believe in protecting you, your families, and America. So if you see anything strange going on, you see someone pulled over by an airport and they've got a massive container that they're opening up that has a long cylindrical tube, or it's just something looks suspicious, don't be afraid to call it out, call the authorities. As always, your number one call in an emergency situation should be to 911. Notify your local police department if you see anything suspicious. If you're at an airport and you see anything suspicious going on, then notify the nearest security personnel or a gate agent, someone that's wearing a airline uniform, notify them. And again, this is very unlikely that they would activate any terror cells in the US, but I want you guys all to be prepared. Yeah, anything strange, call the FBI hotline. Someone can probably throw the FBI hotline in the chat there. But I fully believe in being aware when things like this go down, and when you're dealing with very unpredictable, think of unpredictable people. If you're dealing with an unpredictable person, you want to be aware. And when you're dealing with an unpredictable regime like the Ayatollah, they got a stranglehold on the population. You got to be aware that there could be, the off chance of them just going totally off the rails. So those proxy attacks are things they could mobilize, but more likely they would be utilizing the Islamic resistance in Iraq, the Houthi rebels, or attacks of terror cells in Israel. But again, U.S. targets, since the U.S. is very friendly towards Israel, which I totally agree with, large Israeli population in the U.S., so it could definitely be something that the Iran decides to target. And then regional escalation. So regional escalation is probably the main thing we need to be aware of, guys. Regional escalation is probably unavoidable at this point, especially if Iran decides to fly multiple of these drones over Saudi Arabia. They might start targeting any forces that are friendly to the U.S., like Qatar, UAE, again, Saudi Arabia, very strong ally of the U.S. So these states need to be very aware of what's flying through their airspace. And I'm sure they're partnering right now with U.S. fighter squadrons. There's probably a massive plan. And the fact that there are LFEs, large force exercises that take place with UAE, with Qatar, with Saudi Arabia every year, this is for situations just like this. So Iran's defense minister warned of targeting U.S. bases in the region already. So that's just coming in. That's what I'm getting, the latest information I'm getting right now. Iranian commanders have also threatened to disrupt maritime shipping in the Straits of Hormuz. And then, again, that's why the oil prices are spiking right now. Nuclear posturing. So Iran's probably going to try to accelerate uranium enrichment or announce new nuclear advancements to signal defiance. And they could just, Iran's status quo is defiance. So I don't think they're going to step down. I think they feel emboldened by the deal they made with Russia. And so their president, Pezeshkian, I don't know if I'm saying that right, President Pezeshkian, who's kind of a figurehead for the Ayatollah. I mean, they have a president, but the Ayatollah, the Islamic Republic, is who's in charge. Actually, someone gave a super thanks that I didn't acknowledge or say thanks to. Edward, appreciate your service and also for your professional opinion, I really appreciate that, Edward. Thanks so much, man. Appreciate that. Thank you for the super thanks. That really means a lot. You heard that U.S. bases, this is from Truth, in Iraq has been attacked. Does anyone know anything, or are they safe? Let me see if I can look that up real quick. Let's see. Have U.S. bases in Middle East been attacked? Let's see. It says yes, U.S. bases in the Middle East, particularly. Oh wait, no, that was from. Sorry, that's not a current event. Have been attacked on June 12th, 20. Sorry, that was a. I didn't mean to say yes without verifying that. That was a report from the previous attack that they launched. So let's see. U.S. to pull some personnel from Middle East, U.S. evacuating personnel. So there's nothing that's come out so far that talks about military bases actually being attacked. But here are the different bases. So I think it's definitely worth us looking at the different bases that could be attacked. So U.S. controlled bases in Kuwait, you got lots of them. So here's Israel over here. And then other sites with a military presence from the U.S. So we've got Iraq here. You've got, Iraq has U.S. troops. Jordan has air assets. And then there's a lot of air assets in the region that can be used in this attack that could be taking place against these forces. So if Iran wanted to make a statement and start attacking U.S. bases, they could definitely do it because as you guys can see, there's a ton of U.S. bases in the region. So there we go. There's that. Okay, any other questions? If you guys want to throw out questions, I'll start taking those here in a second before I move on. But again, what we could expect from this conflict. So we talked about regional escalation. We talked about nuclear posturing, weakened capability. So Israel's strikes have degraded Iran's long-range missile production, air defenses already. So that could actually reduce their ability of any type of retaliation. Again, Iran's going to focus on defiance, right? They're that angry regime that's like, we want nuclear weapons too. They're the angry child. But they're also wanting to maintain their fiefdom. New explosion reports at Iran's Natanz nuclear site. Okay. Let's see. Latest reports on attacks on Iran's nuclear sites. What do we got? 8 minutes ago. Okay. More strikes are happening. Yeah, within 8 minutes. So this is coming in from CNN. Looks like the same locations. So we got Natanz and Fordo. So it looks like CNN's claiming the same locations. Dozens of locations across Iran are getting hit, targeting its nuclear program. According to Israeli military officials, this is not a one-day attack. So this is going to continue to go on. General Hassan Salami, the commander-in-chief of Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard, was killed in the attacks. And then multiple Iranian state media outlets have reported that other leadership have been taken out as well. So yeah, this attack is going to continue for days. So I will keep information coming to you guys. Again, diplomatic context. It's an ongoing U.S.-Iran nuclear talks potentially scheduled for June 15th. So those are scheduled for June 15th, 2025, here in a couple days. So I wonder what Iran's response is going to be. Will they derail the negotiations? What do you guys think? Will they actually, want to negotiate now? So we'll see. Iran's leadership faces internal pressure to respond decisively to avoid appearing weak. But, if they continue to go, they're just going to create their own demise, and they're going to get even more strikes on their critical infrastructure. So they're going to probably try to do some sort of a reciprocal response, whatever that looks like. But at this point, with Israel having the gloves off, we've got the F-15Es. These are US F-15Es that are in theater right now. This was a CENTCOM photo. This is on the war zone. So it's this F-15E's got those rocket pods to take down any of these drones that end up launching. It's got a gun, so 20 millimeter HEI cannon, which can take down the drones. So the drone's probably on Iran's mind right now. But again, we got the nuclear talks coming up on June 15th. So a lot of different options that the U.S. has in its quiver. And, not that they're doing these strikes with Israel, but this doesn't hurt the fact that the U.S. can be like, hey, you've had these locations struck. Do you want more of them struck? Because this is what we're going towards. This is what Iran has decided is the way that they're going to go. So Natanz, there's the attack location here. So more explosions at Natanz. So again, taking down all of the different sites. Does Iran have ICBMs? Should we worry about that? That's coming in from Jamin. Let's see. Iran has some long-range missiles. They have missiles with approximately 1,000 nautical mile range, but those, as far as we know, do not carry ballistic missile, or they don't carry nuclear warheads. But again, it could be days or weeks for Iran to develop that. So will they do that? Will they think this is their last shot and launch it? Nothing is off the table, but there is technology to take those down. And Israel has that technology. There's technology in the region that could take that down, in my opinion. Again, I'm just a fighter pilot on YouTube, trying to give you guys information that you're not going to get from the mainstream media. So Iran does have some long-range missiles. They have anti-ship missiles. And there's, when you back someone into a corner, there's nothing's off the table. So that's what I'll throw out there. But again, in the region, just a quick overview. I want to show you guys a quick overview again. So you've got Iran here, and then you've got Iraq, and you've got Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, Oman. These different nations here are going to have air assets as well to take down any drones that are going to be going from this direction, from the west side of Iran, right towards Israel. So right here, you got these also blocking positions. Any football fans out there, blocking and tackling positions here. These bases, not confirmed, but I would assume F-15Es loaded to the teeth with drone killing munitions. And then I've had some folks ask, would Iran launch F-14s, F-5s, these different jets that they have? That is probably not their focus. If they do, these things are going to be schwacked immediately. Every fighter pilot in the theater is going to hope they do launch an F-14 or an F-4, those legacy fighters that Iran has. So if they end up launching those legacy fighters, there is a strong chance that they won't even get off the ground. They'll pull out of their little missile silos, and then boom, they're going to get schwacked right away, especially with around-the-clock operations being conducted by Israel. So I wouldn't expect to see any fighters, but what a sweet script that would be for a Top Gun 3 situation. It is very interesting that Top Gun 2 had attacks in these valleys, kind of similar to what we've seen at Natanz and Fordo, the uranium enrichment facilities. It's just a lot of smart people designing that script. And so now we have Top Gun 2 basically coming to life on steroids, because there's multiple different locations. It's a countrywide attack on Iran. And so what happens from here, I'll keep you guys posted as this develops. I'll pop to the chat for a second and just look at some of the questions you guys are throwing out there. But I'm going to end this here in the next few minutes. Again, 787 video is out there. So check out the 787 video. I will do an update to that tomorrow. And then I'll probably do, I'm not sure. What do you guys think? Should I do an update video to the 787 tomorrow morning, or do you guys want to see a full video on what we've talked about today? You guys throw that out there. Let me know what you think. If you throw it in a super thanks, I'll definitely catch it. Reaper says B2s, KC-135, C-17s, and B-52s are at Diego Garcia right now. I heard the B2s moved. I know there's B-52s, but I wouldn't be surprised if there are B2s there still as well. And those B2s, if we use the B2s, then it is an all-out regional conflict. So hopefully Israel can be the aggressor here, take care of what they need to take care of, do the strikes on Iran, take out all of their nuclear enrichment potential forever, and that's what's going to be the new normal. Is as soon as Iran gets this close, they will get struck. And this is history repeating itself. Iran wants to be defiant and they want to, throw up the middle finger to the entire world. This is what's going to happen. Quick story from my dad, Bodie. He's on the chat here as well, former fighter pilot. He was over in this region in the 80s. And after the fall, the big conflict that happened, the Iranian leadership changed, the Ayatollah took power in the 80s. And after that, basically everything they've said is death to America. Death to America, death to the West. So, you're looking at a regime that's a bunch of people that just want to see death and destruction. They want to take over the world. They want Israel wiped off the map. So while violence sucks and it should be a last resort, you're putting Israel in a position where you're saying you're going to wipe them off the map with a nuclear weapon. So Israel's response is you're not getting a nuke, and the West's response is you're not getting a nuclear weapon as well. So what I would expect to continue to see would be a full-fledged statement to Iran of, look, you're not getting the nuke, and this will continue to happen, and the strikes will step up. So that's just what I would expect to happen, guys. So we got Max, we got YT, we got Dez, and Max. It's not propaganda, man. This is just my opinion. You can throw out the word propaganda all you want, but as a fighter pilot who's studied warfare for a decade plus, and I continue to study it on the Max Afterburner channel, if you look at someone who throws up the middle finger to the West and says you're going to wipe off a country from the map, it's not going to work. So Iran's suffering the result of that. Hopefully this doesn't spill over into a regional conflict. That's not what I want to see. Oil prices likely going to go up for the near future. F-15Es in theater, F-35Is, probably F-35Is carrying this Delilah. This is a Delilah cruise missile. There's a Scalp cruise missile. And then the F-35Is, guys, they're probably going to have what's called an X-Guard. And an X-Guard, let's see, I'll pull up this F-35 here. Yeah, there we go. So this is a U.S. F-35. Israel's F-35s have extremely advanced suppression of enemy air defense capability. So basically, anything you throw at this F-35, it's just the combat capability of this thing is just wild. So I'm glad you guys joined for this long haul. Yeah, buddy Jesus in the chat, Iran isn't the issue, it's their leadership. I couldn't agree more. Iranian people are incredible people. I hope there comes a time where they don't have this type of leadership that has their foot on their neck. You've got leadership that's essentially decided that they're going to put a stranglehold on the population. So if that leadership went away, the world would be a better place, in my opinion. But again, not worth boots on the ground, not worth the bloodshed. But if this does continue to spill over, it might come to that. So I just want to prepare everybody here for that. It might come to that. But Kyle, I agree. No new wars. So I think this retrenchment strategy of knocking the head off the snake, which is what we're seeing, this is way better than a war, than a boots on the ground war. I would take this any day. This is probably what Afghanistan should have been as well, in my opinion, having flown combat missions in Afghanistan. Just strikes to take out the terror camps. So in this case, strikes to take out a terror regime. I mean, they're a terrorist organization who funds other terrorist organizations. So knock the head off the snake, take out these terror organizations, and continue to do it. And that's what the foreseeable future will probably hold. So again, next few days, batten down the hatches in the Middle East. Wish everybody safety. Wish everybody peace and prosperity after this is over. That's the goal. So I hope Iran comes to the table June 15th and they're like, all right, cool, we'll make a nuclear deal. We don't want a nuclear weapon. We don't want ICBMs. What do you guys think? Let's see. We got so back toss. So I said Iran wants to take over the world. What am I smoking? So in my study of military leadership and in my study of conflicts around the globe, I'll take you back to one of my military academies and a map. The map had a map of the caliphates. That's the Muslim caliphates. And basically that's a map that's adhered to by extremist Islamic republics. And an extremist Islamic republic is Iran. That's what Iran is. And so their goal is to establish caliphates around the entire globe, to take over the entire globe. And I know this is hard for people to hear, but their goal is to take over the entire world, establish caliphates, establish Sharia law on the entire globe. That's what they want. And they want to start by taking out Israel. They want to start by taking out America. And so that's who we're dealing with here. And I'm just being honest. This isn't rhetoric. This isn't me trying to be political. This is just me saying that extremists of any religion is bad. And so what we're dealing with here is an extremist Islamic republic of Iran. And so they want to take down the West. They want to take down Israel. That's their goal. And so hopefully, what happens from this is they kind of realize that this is what's going to happen every single time they try to get a bomb. And if that can actually get through to them and they stop trying to get a nuclear weapon, they acknowledge Israel's existence, they acknowledge the West, and they just start to live in prosperity. I mean, the Iranian people are amazing. Some of the most brain power on the globe is in Iran, but they've been stifled, they've been shut down by, really terrible leadership. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Again, not trying to get political here. Arctic Fox, the truth is always hard to hear. The Ayatollah is the problem. Western military tech still superior. Get some. Yeah, I mean, that's where we're at. Car Guy says, thank you. GC Mag, welcome to this. Veritas, glad you guys are all here. Starry Light, Muhammad, really appreciate having you guys here. Really, you guys make the channel what it is. I couldn't be more grateful for what you are. And then Enigma says, stop virtue signaling. It's not virtue signaling, bro. I want peace. I want peace around the globe, but it's peace through strength at this point. That's the point we've come to. No virtue signaling over here. On my channel, what I focus on is military tech. I try to focus on, geopolitical situations, which is what this is. Again, actually my best friend is from Iran. He's in the US. His grandparents were in Iran when the fall happened in the 70s. His grandparent was here, basically got his whole family to come to Iran, or they would have all been killed by the regime change in Iran. So I know better than most how talented the Iranian people are. I'm grateful for them. I really hope that there can be some normalcy and Iran can kind of just realize, hey, you've got the country, like Ayatollah, you've got the country under your control right now. Why not just normalize and come into the fold, create a country of prosperity, give your people the ability to be free. That's what I'd want to see. Semper Fi, thank you for your service. I appreciate that. You guys are funny. Good to see everybody here. The Rough Ryan, Rugby, Byron, Bong Bong, Rip. You guys are awesome, man. Check out the 787 video. Would love to get your guys' views and thoughts on that. On the 787 video, I'll likely do a follow-up to that. What do you guys want to see? Do you guys want to see more of the 787, more feedback to the 787, or do you want to see a full breakdown on this regional potential conflict? You guys let me know. Johnson, good to see you here. Edward, good to see you here. Yeah, there's some haters in here, man. But I say, hey, the hater's going to hate. And that's okay. I want to hear differing opinions. I'm totally okay with that. Jeff McNutty, very excitable chat. Yeah, this is an excitable chat. You guys wanted some excitement on a Thursday night? Well, you got it, baby. I'm glad that I cracked open this energy drink because I'm needing it for this chat. R3N, as a Ukrainian American, I stand with Israel. We need to remove the government and finally free the Iranian people. P.S. Thank you for your service. R3N, wow, thank you so much for that. That really means a lot. I'm so grateful for that, man. Let's see. Matt Forrester, Neo, be honest. If you could go back in time, you would have been a Viper guy all along. So Matt Forrester, you must be a Viper guy. I'll admit, flying the Viper, it's like an extension of your body. Like literally, Once I thought something, it was like the Viper would do it. So I love the Viper. Let's see. Barrel of Lube, that's a funny name, says the 787 news left me gutted. Likely pilot error. Potentially, I'll do more on that. Tennis Girl wants more about the 787. Please, really appreciate your thoughts on the previous vid. Okay, HD wants both. Yeah, okay, I'll do both, but what I'll probably do is I'll do a recap of the 787 video that I'll drop tomorrow morning. And then after that, maybe in the evening, I'll do the Iranian video or wait another day for the Iranian video. Buddy, welcome. 787 had thrust issues, should have stopped at V1. Yeah, maybe a thrust issue that they didn't abort on. They continued to go. That could definitely be the case for sure. So I'll review on that 787 video. I'll go ahead and review the takeoff footage as well for that video that I'll release tomorrow. Let's see. Jeff, Buddy, Solomon, Mahmoud, do you think Israel versus Iran would be same as India versus Pakistan, or would it be different in relation to the air power? Salman, it would definitely be different. If you look at Pakistan versus India, they're more of a near peer adversary. India's bigger. India's got more, but as far as the talent is very close. India has more air power than Pakistan, but they're very evenly matched. In this situation, Iran has basically zero ability to get jets airborne. The sanctions have cut off their fighter jets. They maybe have a couple Su-35s, but as soon as those Su-35s get airborne, they're going to be schwacked by F-16Is, F-35Is, F-15Is. So again, every fighter pilot in the region is hoping that Iran launches jets so they can be the one to take them down. So that's the case with that, but that was a really good question. Let's see. F-16I Sufa is a Viper variant. Yeah, it's a great Viper variant for sure. It's not about the plane. It's about the pilot. That's from Darshan. Ramesh, you're right, my friend. I've got a full video on the Pakistan India conflict. And again, that video is getting pushed off because of this. I did a post saying I would release that video tomorrow, but I'm not going to be able to do that. Survivor found. Please look into that. He jumped from the plane. I know, man, it's just wild. Thank God that one person survived. Very tragic. Thoughts go out to everybody, family members of those that are involved, the crew of that 787, the passengers of the 787, everybody on the ground who lost their lives. Just tragic. But yeah, I'll look into the V1, the thrust, the decide to go ahead and continue the takeoff, maybe some sort of a thrust issue prior to V1 that they continued to take off on. So I'll go ahead and continue that. Let's see. Good questions from everybody. Wow, this has been a fantastic live feed. Do you guys want me to do more live feeds? You can let me know in the comments below. But again, this F-35, the F-35I is going to be doing work. It's going to be doing work over the next few days. I'll keep that coming to you as this develops. Yeah, I heard the survivor was sitting by an exit row and then at some point in the rubble, in the mayhem, jumped and started running. And yeah, it's just, again, pure miracle that he's alive. Grateful for him being alive. Guys, you mean the world to me, everybody on the live feed, even though we got spicy. I like it when it gets spicy because it brings up new thoughts and new perspectives. Because I'm not always right. And I'll be the first one to tell you guys I'm not always right. I'm totally okay admitting that. Because we're all here to learn. And even on my channel, on the Max Afterburner channel, it's about learning. It's about growth. I've been doing this for going on a little over 3 years now. The channel's growing like crazy, and it's because of people like you. It's because of all you guys here in the chat that I'm so grateful for. Everybody watching the video today on the 787, the follow-up I'll do to that. I got a lot more videos coming to you. And again, you can also become a channel member. If you could become a channel member, there's a link in the description. So click the link in the description, become a channel member, and I'll do specialized content for channel members, specialized live chats for channel members. So please go ahead and jump on that. Okay, Harry says more live feeds. Dustin appreciates the insights. Lori says, continue the live feeds. Nathan, been inspired by you and Mover. I'm applying for an F-15C unit. Awesome. Nathan, wish you all the best with that. Let's see. Blaine, Matt, the book. Spicy is good. I agree. Spicy is good. Got to have a little controversy. Again, respect to everyone, even respect to Iran, lots of respect to Iran. I hope they negotiate well and in good faith on June 15th, and their country can become more normalized. The people in that country can thrive and they don't have to live in fear. I hope the leadership can realize that the more freedom you give people, the better prosperity you can have. You don't need to keep your thumb, you don't need to keep your hand on their neck. You don't need to keep your knee just pressed up against these people. You don't have to repress them. Man, it'd be great to see the Iranian people unleashed because they're such a talented group of people. So we got Bong Bong, Life of the Party, one-man air show. The one-man air show. Yeah, baby. That's what I'm talking about. This is random, but I actually realized the other day, someone asked me, they were like, what's the craziest thing you've ever done? And I realized that I've peed in front of 200,000 people. Sitting in an F-16 prior to takeoff, you have a piddle pack, which you pee into prior to taking off. Because if you take off with a full bladder and your G-suit expands, it's the worst pain you've ever felt. So literally sitting in my F-16 cockpit, I remember it was at Phoenix, Arizona. Prior to takeoff, I had to pee, and there was 200,000 people in the crowd that day. And I'm looking at it, all 200,000 of them, and I peed in front of 200,000 people. So that's the one-man air show for you, I guess. Yeah, that was fun. R3N, do more live feeds. Jordan wants updates for both. Yeah, the piddle pack had happened, man. Appreciate you guys being here again. Everybody just be vigilant, be on the lookout, protect yourself, protect your family. I wish everybody here on this live feed and everybody who will watch it after, all my followers, even people that aren't my followers, all the haters out there, all the haters that were in this chat, I wish you well also. And I hope your family is well, even though you threw some spiciness, that's totally fine. I hope you all are well. But I appreciate you guys being here. It really means a lot. Again, regional conflict. Hopefully we can avoid it. F-35I right here. Godspeed to these Israeli pilots, the F-15I pilots, F-35I pilots, F-16I pilots. I hope they're all safe. Hope their families are all safe. And then the Iron Dome, David Sling, I hope that's in full effect and protecting the Israeli people. And then again, I hope for the Iranian people to be prosperous and safe as well. And I hope they'll come to the table and come to some sort of a deal on this conflict. Their leadership likes to be defiant, but hopefully this is a statement that this is just going to keep happening if they don't negotiate. So negotiate. It'd be better for everybody. HD Wallet. I am a supporter of peace and normalization of countries around the globe. So I want everybody to be peaceful and prosperous. I want everybody to make money. I want people to have families. I want people to live long and prosper. That's what I want. So I want Israelis to live long and prosper. I want Iranians to live long and prosper. I want Americans to live long and prosper. Who's ever in this chat, we got people from Germany. We probably got people from all over the world in this chat. I want you all to live long and prosper. That's what I want. And that's why, today, the 787 video, it was about respect for those that lost their lives, the family members of those who were, related to anybody that was in that crash, and then how to prevent it in the future, how to keep everybody safe in air travel. So keeping everybody safe as you travel through the skies is my number one goal as a pilot. And I want to reassure everybody that air travel is safe. Pilots are trained well. And we'll get to the bottom of that 787 incident, and I'll do a full breakdown on that to reassure you guys with updates tomorrow. So again, this is Max Afterburner, also known as Ryan, also known as the fighter pilot next door. I kind of like that one. I kind of like the fighter pilot next door one. But you guys are awesome. Here's the live stream here. 21,000 people came into the live stream. So super grateful for everybody being here. Thank you so much. And I will see you guys on the next one. Check out the 787 video and stay tuned for the update on the 787 tomorrow. God bless everyone here. Hope you're safe and prosperous, and I'll see you on the next one. Most of all, have a great night.